The FRS and its sisters have gotten a lot of attention as the affordable, enthusiast rear-wheel drive car, the de facto standard. However, the British pioneered this idea, and the Japanese refined it. So we brought along a Honda S2000 and a Mazda RX-8 to find out if the FRS truly is the best example.
And these are the two that you've asked for. I mean, we've had so many requests for this comparison.
We have.
And I'm excited to do it, but I am a little concerned I may have dug myself a hole.
Well, so what's wrong?
Well, on the PCH piece, I may have said that the FRS was better than the RX-8 and the S2000.
I think you did say that.
I think I did
I think
too.
I remember that.
So now I am prepared to be wrong. We have them here. I'm prepared to drive them. I'm prepared to be wrong.
I think I'm going to be wrong too.
Well, actually, you know what? No matter how this goes, the fanboys for these cars are so serious.
Well, that's true.
We're going to be wrong.
This is the wrong review. These are the wrong cars.
This is the wrong model year. That's the wrong color.
We're going to be wrong.
You guys are idiots. So whatever we say, we're going to be wrong.
It's going to be wrong.
But I tell you, this is about the only time you're going to see all three of these cars, unbiased by non-owners, together. That's why we're here. You've asked for it. So let's go be wrong. So here is the same white FRS we had on our Pacific Coast Highway shoot. It's one of the first 86 FRS that were in the country, and I just like this car.
It's always nice to get back in a car that you remembered loving and it didn't let you down. The FRS is not disappointing me. Personally, I feel like the BRZ is the better setup. However, and I'm getting back to the FRS thinking I loved it, but we were comparing it against different cars. The two cars we brought along with it, pretty steep competition.
Last time we drove the RX-8 for the show, it was an 04. This is a 2011. In fact, it's the last RX-8 R3 sold in Southern California. And I maintain that everything about this car is just odd, just kind of off-kilter unique. This second generation RX-8 is definitely more refined than the first generation.
After having driven the first generation RX-8, I feel like that car was more willing, just slightly more willing than this car. But what I don't feel like they've done is completely take away that fun to drive, that just brilliant enthusiasm. So this car represents the most sorted, best example of the RX-8.
Of course, there's two versions of the Honda S2000, and they are much debated, the AP1 and the AP2. This is an AP2. If you want to go with the AP1 version with a higher red line and a little bit more tail-happy suspension, then you can get them cheaper. But in this AP2, they definitely refined the car. And of course, you're buying one of the most reliable cars ever made. The guy that owns this has got almost 80,000 miles on it, has never done anything more than standard maintenance.
What's great is you've got that nearly bulletproof nature of Honda cars, so you don't have to worry about beating on this thing. Now, the car we're driving today is the car we drove in our standalone Honda S2000 review. So driving it later, it's got, of course, more miles, and it still feels fresh. I'm sad to say these cars are no longer in the market. And it's also a tragedy that Honda is building things like the Honda the Honda Cross Tour. Getting right out of the other cars into the FRS is truly revealing. I wasn't thinking that the FRS needed more power. I thought it was fine. I'm wrong about that.
In spite of being the least powerful, the FRS is actually the easiest to launch. But it also runs out of breath the fastest. I mean, above about 5,000 RPMs, if you put your foot to the floor, you expect that extra little surge when you mat the gas, and it just doesn't happen.
here I am stepping on the throttle, and I feel like the FRS is holding something back. And that feeling isn't that it's holding something back, it just doesn't have any more to give.
Now this S2000 has the 40 more horsepower that we wish we had in the FRS. But it has almost the exact same torque. So because of course, the much-loved Honda VTEC engine, you got to rev it pretty high to find the power in this car.
There's enough there. I'm not wanting for power. And as hard as you can rev the engine, it's just a constant surge.
And you feel that VTEC changeover right about 6,000 RPMs. And it gives you that extra little kick in the ass when the FRS is just dying away. The S2000 is a second faster 0 to 60 than the FRS. I mean, that's pretty much the only stat you need to know to remind you that the FRS is just underpowered.